anytime. Get supplies and solutions for every industry with real-time product availability. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is your captain speaking. Thank you for flying with ESPN Northwest Florida. Please return to your seats, buckle up, and prepare for launch.
It will lay down. Base hit. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The defending world champion Atlanta Braves are sponsored by Bill Burke Kia, Beltway Portable Buildings, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Ellis Agency Insurance, and ESPN Northwest Florida. And we apologize for any turbulence you've experienced this season with the Atlanta Braves.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, temperatures near 90 this afternoon. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm, light south winds, water temperature in the Gulf, 88. Mostly clear, around 78 tonight. A 40-50% coverage of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, highs near 90. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dr. Chad Mitchell, orthopedic surgeon specializing in sports medicine and joint replacement of the knee, shoulder, and hip. He serves our local athletes and our community. Southern Orthopedic Specialist has been the leader in orthopedic care for over 20 years. New patients are welcome. Call 850-769-KNEE to schedule an appointment. More about Dr. Mitchell and Southern Orthopedic Specialist is available on their website, southernorthopedic.com. Southern Orthopedic, getting you back in the game.
Dat Cajun Place is the place to watch all college and NFL games. Don't miss a game with their 27 TVs and the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's 75-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live football games. Dat Cajun Place is LSU and Saints football headquarters. Daily specials starting at just $10.99. Happy hour 4 till 7 daily. $1 draft beer and $3 wells. Dat Cajun Place, 2705 Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach.
Swampy Jack here. I've traveled the world for decades and brought my most exciting adventures to Panama City Beach. Encounter the 25-foot-tall Swamp Ape. This indoor scrambler ride is synchronized for a multimedia experience like you've never felt. Put the pedal to the metal, racing around the Marrakesh track in electric go-karts. Supercharge your cart with special power-ups for extra speed or to sabotage opponents. And if you're hungry, grab a meal at Swampy's Cantina or enjoy an ice-cold beer. This and more at Swampy Jack's.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts in Delhi. Call 763-1627.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Those words are just as true as they were back in 1961.
Carter Fleming, Community Center volunteer.
I am still trying to live up to that challenge, and with great privilege comes great responsibility.
Growing up in poverty taught me how to be determined, how to be goal-oriented.
Ray Wright, youth mentor.
I work with young people every day, and young people who have almost lost faith in the world surrounding them. I'm that ray of sunshine telling them we haven't been forsaken.
The giving spirit is as passionate in the boomers today as it was in our 20s, and we as a generation can still impact our country.
Lead, inspire, change the world again. Join thousands and find which volunteer opportunity is best for you. Call 1-800-424-8867 today or visit www.getinvolved.gov. This message is brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service in this station.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. It has no cure. Parkinson's is not limited to how a person moves. It can also cause symptoms like depression, fatigue, and impaired speech. Today, there is a new diagnosis every 9 minutes, though Parkinson's can be present for years before being diagnosed. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure. For more than 50 years, APDA has funded pioneering research and provided critical support to those affected by Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.
This is where history is made. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Red Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Are we getting any levels over there? I can't tell from this side over here.
I can hear
All right,
you.
as long as you guys can hear me, I can't hear myself, so I don't know what's going on. Whatever, it's just been one of those days, as we like to call it. It's been an absolute Monday. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Can't wait to bring you guys a great show today. A lot of show prep work put in today with Kyle Wright and Miles Lashley, who's on the board today. It's been great so far to this point. Let's go ahead and get straight into it. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Also 102.1 FM in the Mariana area. Thank you guys so much for joining us this afternoon. We still got about 4 more spots in the fantasy draft. I'm trying to get that going. We're trying to do the generating the names for each draft, or drafting the leagues at least by Wednesday. So we've got 4 more spots open. All you got to do is send your name and email over to 850-215-6290, and we will take care of you from there. This will be at Dave & Buster's August 20th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Dave & Buster's Draft with 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now about 20 minutes after the show on Friday, some of the biggest news in a while broke in the sport of baseball. I'm talking about Fernando Tatis Jr., the Padres. All of those expectations. We bring in Brandon Drury. We bring in Hader. We bring in Juan Soto on the thought of we're going to get Tatis Jr. back here soon, and we're going to be a superstar team. Well, not so fast, my friend, because he's been suspended for 80 games for violating the league's banned substance policy.
Yeah, man. You know what's funny is I think I called you around maybe 6:30 on Friday after this news broke, and I'm like, it always happens after we go off the air. Turn the headphone thing up. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It always happens right after we go off the air. So I called David, and I'm like, dude, so I'm not even thinking about the news at this point. Miles over there. Okay. I can't hear anything now. Okay, we're better. All right. So I pulled a couple teammate quotes up, and of course the Padres general manager as well. We'll give our takes on it here in just a moment. But Mike Clevenger, pitcher for the Padres, saying this is the second time that we have been disappointed in him, which I assume is referring maybe back to the motorcycle injury that put Tatis on the shelf initially. Joe Musgrove says, I think you got to start showing a little bit of remorse, and you've got to start showing us that you're committed to it and that you want to be here. Which these are pretty strong words, by the way, coming from a veteran pitcher, coming from...
No, I got it. It was me. It was my headphones were so loud trying to hear myself earlier. Now I can finally hear him. You're over here, so turn you down a little bit as well. All right, here we go, y'all.
We're Rocky.
Hey, it's been a Monday, man. There's no doubt about it, but we're back. And we're going to get things rocking and rolling.
Yes, sir. Manny Machado said, just hearing that he's going to be suspended for 80 games and not be a part of what we're trying to accomplish here, it's a terrible thing. And then, of course, GM A.J. Preller chiming in saying, I think that we're hoping from the offseason to now that there would have been some maturity. And obviously with the news, it's more of a pattern and something we've got to dig a little bit more into. I'm sure he's very disappointed, but at the end of the day, it's one thing to say it. You have to start by showing it with your actions. Now, these are pretty strong takes from people who are like in the field of battle with this man.
Yeah, my takes on this are he has all the resources around him to get every medicine he takes get tested for what's on the list you're not supposed to take. I think he was actually doing steroids, and it comes out, he makes up the story, blah, blah, blah. But these guys have every resource around them to get this stuff tested.
Fernando, let me holler at you a minute. I know you're listening.
I know you're listening. Call in.
Yeah, call in if you want. Listen, man, clear nail polish. Clear nail polish. That's what my mom always used for ringworm back in the day. I know it's actually like an infection. I know there's actual things that you have to treat it and everything, but clear nail polish, Fernando. You're welcome. Get back on the field next year.
I haven't done a lot of research into this because, like you said, that the news ended up breaking Friday evening. So from then, you know, so many things happened on Saturday, on Sunday. Saturday, I was doing the ring announcing for Extreme Impact Wrestling. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But so I didn't have a lot of time to get into this. Is this what it stems to? Is ringworm?
This is what he said that
he claims.
He claims that he took this drug, which I forget the name of now.
Okay, so cholesterol.
Yep. Okay, so Mario Colestebol, the head coach of Miami Hurricanes. No, but yeah, so that's what he said he took the drug for, was to treat the ringworm. And I think everybody out there not named Fernando Tatis knows that that's Fugazi.
Yeah, this is a sad situation. I mean, now obviously the steroid era was not a bad time. A black eye, yes. But if you think about what was going on in the steroid era of baseball, it really brought it back to light. I'm assuming we have a caller.
Steven on the line wants to talk to Tatis.
All right, Steven, you are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. Go ahead, my friend.
What's up, man? Steven Seifert. I don't really like baseball that much. I've expressed that on here before. I think the MLB's kind of killed that. But, hey, we're back to steroids, which kind of did it the first time. So, apparently what a dermatologist came out and said, and Adam Schefter showed this yesterday, the cholesterol, whatever the drug is that he claims, is closely, like phonetically, sounds like an actual ringworm treatment, but he used the wrong thing, like Googling. Like the actual mix-up thing that he claims, and he said, oh, yeah, I was using it for this drug. The drug that he claimed to have used would have been really bad for ringworm because it's basically a steroid, right? So it looks like he essentially mis-Googled his own explanation, or I'm guessing maybe his agent did, or I doubt it's a team lawyer, but it looks like it's a bad Google job more than anything else, and there is a dermatologist who's saying that out there on Twitter.
Hey, thanks so much for the call, Steven. We appreciate it so much. Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
All right, so great stuff. That makes this story even better, right? Because why are you listening to an agent about something that's going on with your health? Why are you listening to a team lawyer about something that's going on with your health? You don't got to Google anything as a professional athlete to treat ringworm. You got to go see the team doctor and let him give you something. And then when the drug that you're perceived or that you're admitting to taking turns out to be not conducive to getting rid of the ringworm, what are you thinking? Now, I get that this is a young man, and we as young men, well, you know, me and Kyle in our 30s here, Miles only 22 years old, that frontal lobe really doesn't start to develop till 25, 26. No excuse. I'm not giving the man an excuse.
No.
But it seems to me more than anything, hey, look, I've been hurt 2-3 times in the last couple of years. I need to gain my competitive edge back. And maybe this was the route that he chose.
You nailed it. And Miles looked at me earlier and said that this is what happens when you give a 21-year-old this amount of money. And it's funny because that's so true. Why? So really, I obviously 99% of this blame goes on Tatis, but the Padres put themselves in this position. What do you think would happen right now? If you gave me $100 million, I would go on a little dumb spending spree, but I would do a lot of responsible things. If we gave Miles Lashley $100 million right now, he would probably defecate on the floor and storm out of here.
I would invest it all. What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. Like, I know. Like the way, especially males, because we're stupid, operate with money. Like we just do dumb things. And this is a young man who has been given if I'm not mistaken, a $440 million contract for 14 years.
Come on.
And
well, I don't know if that's the. I know that's the Juan Soto
that's
deal.
the one, no, but Tatis's deal is fat
It was
too.
yeah, it was huge. I think it was closer to 330 mil. I'm looking up the contract right now. Our research and development guys should be on this because, as we all know, the newest members of the Afternoon Underdogs are R&D, which stands for Research and Development. It was 14 years, $340 million. That's not chump change.
Right.
All right. And you can afford you can afford a doctor in Venezuela to get that ringworm out with a knife or something
Also, I like
before you and still stay healthy.
Also, I like what Caveman said here in the comments on Facebook. How you got that much money? How you even getting ringworm?
What kind of dirty water you playing in? Because back in the day, when we were going outside to play,
Stomping
and
in
if it was
puddles.
exactly,
On
be
Michigan
careful.
Avenue,
Mom
baby.
would always be like, "Be careful, you're gonna get ringworm. Be careful, you're gonna get ringworm." So that also is a great take. Now, also one of the flip sides here is one of the pieces that they traded away to bring in Juan Soto was shortstop. Well, he could play shortstop, second base, but mainly shortstop prospect C.J. Abrams, who is now with the Nationals. So you got to think, is there any second guessing going in with that deal? Because, yeah, you brought in Juan Soto, huge bat. That's great and all, but at the end of the day, the Atlanta Braves did not win the World Series because of Freddie Freeman. The Atlanta Braves did not win the World Series because of Ronald Acuna Jr. The Atlanta Braves won the World Series because they had a great bullpen at the point in time. They got hot at the right time, and they had a great clubhouse with good depth. Platoon players is the way to go. So if the Padres can't find that, can't formulate for their system, this could end up being a bigger deal than what we're even thinking now. Also, what's another point here? How many games are left in the season?
Yeah, he's serving 40 this year and 40 next year.
Exactly. So they don't even get to start off with their star. You pay this guy all that kind of money, right, to be the face of your franchise.
Which he is, by the way.
He is.
He was considered the face of baseball last year, right?
And you can't even have the face of baseball, the face of, well, not this last year, but the year prior,
Right.
MLB The Show, right? He's on the cover there.
We had the whole intro in MLB The Show about him being the face of baseball. Some people don't like me. Well, now you know why.
I wish the MLB would let them all do steroids and let all the pitchers use spider tech. I think that would be very interesting and fun to watch.
Now, I'll be real with you. As a fan, I have zero problem with that. The problem is you legalize that, and then some next greater and better thing is going to become available.
Yeah, then we
but
have all
spider
these
tack
giants on the baseball field.
Well, and that would because I am a baseball purist, but not all players are going to go that route. Not all players are going to be out because honestly, you look at a team like the Atlanta Braves, right? And what do they live and die by? The home run for the most of the time. Then you look at a team like the Mets, who are hitting little bloop shots, hitting balls that hit third base and bounce over Austin Riley's heads. To me, that is the game of baseball I love enjoying. The home runs, they're a lot of fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. But the dinking, the dunking, the bunting, you shift on me, I'm bunting your way. Don't talk to me about hitting the ball where it's pitched. Bunt the ball the other way. You can get on base and have a great on-base percentage as well.
I will say this. Austin Rygula mentioned it to me a couple days ago, and I'm just kind of capitalizing on Justin Overstreet's comment here.
Yeah.
Where he says steroids speed up recovery time, and these players won't stay hurt all the time. If I was a Yankees fan, I might be a little concerned that Aaron Judge might be next to get investigated for this kind of thing because Aaron Judge has been hurt every single year. And then for some reason, for the first time in his career, he has avoided the injuries this year, has stayed healthy, and he's on track to still hit like 60 home runs.
Well, he's playing for that contract.
Yeah, I mean,
well, to see, I like that take better when it comes to Aaron Judge. It is a contract year. I do believe that he had a slight injury this year, but him, Giancarlo Stanton, both have been players that have been prone to injury. But so has Fernando Tatis Jr. And we've seen him out for months at a time. Last year with the shoulder dislocation, could have he gotten, because there was talks of shutting him down for the season. I said, shut him down for the season. You're not really playing for anything here. You're in the National League West. Shut him down for the season. Keep the career longevity up there. Instead, maybe there was some of this going on which helped him get back into the game. Now, that is purely speculation, but it's the only time one of our, at least I can speak for me and Kyle Wright, right? I'm David Hayes. We got Kyle Wright, Miles Lashley. We're the Afternoon Underdogs. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I can speak for us saying that we are baseball fans. And baseball gets brought up a lot here on the afternoon show, the Afternoon Underdogs. A lot of other sports shows, the national sports shows, you don't hear it as much unless a situation like this happens and it's a black eye on the game of baseball. I'm starting to wonder, does baseball like the black eyes? Is it something that they look for, they yearn for to get back into the press? Or is it something totally different? We are about to take a quick timeout. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. We've got Kyle Wright. Miles Lashley is on the board. And we're going to keep it running with our NFL preview this year. We're almost to the end of it. In fact, this is going to be the final day. And we're going to start it off with the NFC or the AFC?
NFC.
NFC. Some call it least. I'll call it the Beast. We'll be right back. Up.
Already clicked Jock says. Microphone.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd. LeBron James, Rich Paul, the new head coach Darvin Ham, and Rob Pelinka, those four people met. 4 or 5 different agreements, according to sources. All 4 of those seem like wake-up calls for Westbrook. Russ wasn't in the meeting. AD wasn't either, but his agent was.
The Herd, weekdays 11 to 2 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Weather forecast overnight becoming partly to mostly clear in the mid to upper 70s, light southwest winds. Tuesday and Wednesday will go with a 50-50 shot of showers and thunderstorms, partly to mostly sunny near 90 degrees each day, and light west winds expected. More showers and thunderstorms Thursday. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Let the adventures begin in a new Kia from Billberg Kia. Now offering 3.49% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and ride your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Billberg Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillbergKia.com. We make buying a car easy and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Billberg Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 9/6/22.
If you are or know a homeless veteran, please listen closely. The 15th Annual Homeless Veteran Stand Down, hosted by Career Source Gulf Coast, is here to help. Free services include employment services, medical and dental assistance, housing referrals, social services, and VA benefits. Plus, free toiletries, non-perishable food items, and box lunches are available. Free bus transportation to and from the event will be provided by Baytown Trolley. The 15th Annual Homeless Veteran Stand Down will be held on August 26th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Gulf Coast State College Student Union East Building.
The number one SEC call-in show is now twice as big. It's double the Paul Feinbaum Show. Weeknights starting at 6.
Okay, but also go faster.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Rib Crib Studio, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys should go check out Rib Crib. They got spuds as big as your head. Oh, man, some of the items on their menu are fantastic. Also, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is going to be your new radio home. For the Mosley Dolphins, we got to meet with athletic director Doug Lee, Coach Tommy Joe Whitten today, and the rest of the crew that put in a lot of effort to make these Mosley football games work out. Starting this Friday, the home team is the Rutherford Rams taking on the Mosley Dolphins. The excitement and the crowds of high school football are back. Live play-by-play with myself and my good buddy Kyle Wright. Mosley Dolphins versus the Rutherford Rams. Kickoff at 7 o'clock, and the sponsors are Southern Orthopedics, Taverio Solutions, Gulf Coast Aquarium, Barbaritos, and ESPN Northwest Florida. The Dave & Buster's draft has 3 to 4 spots left. I did have to drop someone out of the Champions League. So we've got 3 to 4 spots left. 850-215-6290. And all you got to do is text over your name and your email. Now let's get into our preview. And we'll start with transactions and storylines, starting off with Jerry Jones's Cowboys.
Man, what I did here is I put the acquisitions, the re-signings, and the departures, and then I put a key storyline question at the end of these.
I like it.
For every single team.
Got a guy named AG on the phone?
Let's get AG
we'll give him a little bit of time. AG, you're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. What's going on, my friend?
What's going on, boys? How are y'all?
Hey, man, we are doing just fine. How are you doing, my man?
Doing well. Hey, so I wanted to pose this question. I didn't want to wait till Friday. Back home in Louisville, one of the bigger baseball coaches got fired today because he refused to play the principal's son. I want to hear your all's take on that situation, since you're going to be calling high school football, and I'll hang up and listen.
I'm going first.
Go for it.
I'm going first because if I'm a coach and you're the principal and your coach ain't that good, I'm sorry. As a coach, especially at the high school level, but you put me playing with or coaching 12 and 13-year-olds, fundamentals come first. Fundamentals with a good attitude comes first. With those things, you expect to win. Now, I'm not saying that losing, throw a tantrum when you lose. No, take lessons when you lose. But I don't care if you're the principal. I don't care if you're the owner of the team. If you put me in the position to be the coach here and I don't do it the way that you see fit, well, you run the daggum team. You run the team. You put your kid there, especially if he ain't that good. Now, if the kid's good and the coach has a problem with the principal's kid or something like that, that's a different vendetta. I'm not venturing down the road. Me as a coach, the best 9 play, and then if we get up in big situations or if we get down in big situations, then other guys are going to receive some experience to create that depth and that culture. No favoritism coming from me.
Now, as a guy that's, served in the military, who's coached sports, played sports my whole life, nepotism is something that I've seen a lot. And this is a prime example of nepotism. And I will say, I cannot think of a situation where it's ever ended well. And I'm talking all the way from me being training to go overseas, over in Fort Hood, all the way to coaching flag football in Lynn Haven, Florida.
And you got to think the coach is also going to he's coaching for his job. He has to win to keep his job. So he's going to put the best players out there.
And if I'm sorry, Mr. Principal, but if your son or your grandson, I didn't quite catch which one it was, but if he sucks, he ain't playing, bro. I'm just saying, if I'm the coach, if he sucks, he ain't playing. Now, if he's like 7 years old, I'm coaching kids. Coaching kids is a little different. You're trying to get everybody out there.
Fundamentals is the only thing that's why I could never do it. I could never do T-ball, 6 through 8 and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I find a lot of competitive teams out there, and that's all fine and dandy. But to me, that is the most influential age for sportsmanship. You put your kid on a team with a coach who's got bad sportsmanship, that's going to live with them, or it might even take away their love for the game. And that's the worst thing that you ever want to do, because here's the thing. If you're out here trying to raise the next LeBron James, the next Derek Jeter, you're doing it wrong. If the kid doesn't love the game, then why do you even have him playing that sport? Sports teach you things about life that you can't learn in other areas of life. And so learning the fundamentals, learning teamwork, and learning listening to authority are three of the biggest things that you'll take away from youth sports.
What is that that quote, man? It's everywhere. It's uncoachable kids become unemployable adults.
That's, yeah, and it's 100% true.
1,000% true. You can't, unless you disagree, I think we're good to move on to the Cowboys.
Yeah, let's talk about coachable players and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, so lead us off here with the Cowboys. Talk a little bit about the notable acquisitions, some of the re-signings, and some of the guys who have left Jerry's world.
So actually, I thought Dallas did somewhat of a good job doing what I call damage control. They obviously lost quite a bit. They lost, DeMonte KZ, Keanu Neal, Randy Gregory, Connor Williams, La'el Collins, Cedric Wilson, Amari Cooper. That's a pretty busy offseason, especially
really
on the offensive side of the ball, losing two top offensive linemen, losing one of the fastest growing wide receivers in the game in Cedric Wilson, and losing one of like at least was on track to become one of the best wide receivers in the game, and Amari Cooper.
And I would still put him at top 20.
Yeah,
and one of the reasons why, at least in my opinion, CeeDee Lamb had the year that he had last year was because Amari Cooper helping out in the double coverage land, and so that opens it up for CeeDee Lamb. Now I feel bad for Amari Cooper and that ugly helmet he's got to wear, and who's going to be throwing to him.
Yep.
Brissett's going to be throwing him some brisket, and not in the good kind of beef.
Jacoby Brisket. But they did manage to re-sign Michael Gallup. They signed James Washington, who I believe is out now.
Yeah, injured, yep.
Injured as well. We know Michael Gallup is also injured. CeeDee Lamb looking like the only wide receiver they have healthy. Of course, we're going to look at the depth charts here in a few moments. They got Leighton Vander Esch back. They signed Dante Fowler. They re-signed DeMarcus Lawrence to a big extension, and they were able to sign safety Malik Hooker. But I think the biggest question for the Dallas Cowboys right now, the realistic expectations for Dak Prescott, knowing we don't have Amari Cooper, knowing we only have CeeDee Lamb, knowing we might not have Michael Gallup, no James Washington, no Cedric Wilson, no La'el Collins. I know the list goes on and on and on. Zeke's a shell of his former self. So, what, Miles? I'll start with you.
I think he's going to be pretty average this year. He doesn't have anybody. This is the worst team he's ever had, and you've seen the past few years. He can't get it done with all the pieces around him. What's he going to do this year when he doesn't have all those pieces around him?
Now, what's going to be interesting here is that while I do agree with you guys, the lack of weapons is going to be huge. Will that be a stepping stone for Dak to put more on his shoulders this year, right? You're still going to have Zeke, and the way that Jerry's talking about it, he's trying to get his money's worth. I think I agree with Miles that the best way to get your money's worth out of Ezekiel Elliott at this point in time of his career is trade him off, get what you can get. That's not going to happen. We saw Tony Pollard take that offense over. Will the offensive line be good enough for Tony Pollard to kind of break out Zeke Elliott, either way, break out? No Michael Gallup and no James Washington, as you mentioned. Those are going to hurt because whereas the Cowboys had 4 wide receivers that could really hurt you last year, now you got CeeDee Lamb, who's guaranteed to be locked up, probably have a corner and then a safety spying on him a lot of the time. So that's going to open up Jalen Tolbert from South Alabama, who was the 3rd-round pick for him. It's going to open him up in the slot. You got to hope that he can be a difference maker. If not, it's going to be a long year for Dak. Here's the thing, though. He's been paid. Dak's been paid now. So, you know what I mean? Like how we were talking about earlier, which player was it that's in the contract here? Aaron Judge, right? Aaron Judge is playing for that money. Dak got his money. Yes, they restructured, but what is there to prove unless he's really about it? And when I mean about it, winning games. Because a quarterback draw, slide 14 seconds, no timeout, that's not about it.
We are definitely going to find out the answer to that question this season.
Oh, yeah.
There's no doubt about it. This is it. And really,
But he does have a crutch because of all of the injuries.
Right.
So he does get a year after this, but this is Dak Prescott closer to elite, good, or is he on the precipice of great?
I think that this is the first time in Dak's career that his back's been against the wall. And that's the Dak Prescott I want to see. We've always seen him with a top running back, a top offensive line, top receivers. He's kind of been able to just sit back, do his thing, make a cup of tea, make a pot of coffee, throw the ball. He's going to have to be on his toes this year, and I'm excited to see it.
How stacked was Blake Bortles' team when he took the Jaguars to the AFC Championship?
Yeah, but that was all defense, though.
Yeah.
That was all defense. So, for the flip side, if the Cowboys' defense is that good, but let's be honest, who's their coach? Mike McCarthy. Does he instill fear in anyone when it comes to the defensive side of the ball? We're going to keep it rolling here in the next segment. We still got 3 teams. It doesn't matter. This show is all about the NFC East and the AFC East this year. We're talking all things football. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, also 102.1 FM if you're in the Mariana area. We're also on Blab TV. If you don't have them through your TV service provider, you can get it on your Fire Stick TV or your Roku TV. Just get the channel or the app.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
What was your rap name? Max, man. I had one I can't repeat on the air now, but...
What was his what?
Rap. You didn't know I had a record deal in 94?
No, I didn't.
Every couple months, it comes up, people play the video. I'm like, I didn't know this. By the way, I was all right. On every street corner in New York, everyone rhymed.
Y'all spit rhymes back in the day.
Who says just back in the day, Jay?
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Weekday mornings starting at 5 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, temperatures near 90 this afternoon. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm, light south winds, water temperature in the Gulf 88. Mostly clear around 78 tonight. A 40-50% coverage of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, highs near 90. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Dat Cajun Place is the place to watch all college and NFL games. Don't miss a game with their 27 TVs and the NFL Sunday Ticket. It's 75-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live football games. Dat Cajun Place is LSU and Saints football headquarters. Daily specials starting at just $10.99. Happy hour 4 till 7 daily. $1 draft beer and $3 wells. Dat Cajun Place, 2705 Thomas Drive, Panama City Beach.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
Since 1955, Buddy Gandy's Seafood Market has been providing their customers with the freshest seafood in Panama City. Whether you're cooking something small or hosting a big get-together, Buddy Gandy's has you covered with a variety of fish, oysters, shrimp, crab legs, live blue crabs, a steam bar, and more. They'll even clean your catch for you. Open 7 days a week near the intersection of Beck Avenue and Highway 98. Don't forget to mention 104.3 ESPN for your 10% discount. Visit Buddy Gandy Seafood Market on Facebook.
From the Florida-Bama line to the Gulf of Mexico, from the Upper Grand Lagoon to McKenzie Park, we are live and local.
Whether you like it or not, you have a gift.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys are listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes. We've got Kyle Wright and Miles Nasty Lashley in the building with us this afternoon. We're your home for the Auburn Tigers again. And college football is right around the corner. It kicks off September 3rd versus Mercer. You can hear every game in ultra high fidelity right here. This year, we're sending a listener to see the Tigers play in action. Make sure you keep it locked in to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida and get the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Looks like I've got about 3 spots left here in fantasy football. If you'd like to be a part of the Dave & Buster's draft, 850-215-6290. Just text your name and your email.
If you think you can beat me, sign up.
Oh, starting
like
the
that.
week trash talk, man. That was like, not even it wasn't a big dumpster. It wasn't even the dumpsters that are outside of the house. It was kind of like a bathroom waste bin. That's
It's
what
small
style of
little
trash
small
talk.
little garbage can.
All right.
I think at the end of the day, Miles, you're still trash. So you got to love it.
I'm not going to call my man trash. Appreciate everyone that we all do here on this show. So let's keep it rolling, though. Moving on to the next team in the NFC East. Who we going to be looking at, Kyle?
I think we've got the New York Football Giants.
All right. So we could just throw them in Miles' trash can and move right along.
Top three. They're a top 3 dumpster fire in the NFL, I would say.
100%. Where do they pick in the draft next year?
1
through 5. 1 through 5.
1 through 5. 1 through 5 is easy to say. If Daniel Jones is their quarterback for 17 games this year without injury, 2.
Fair
pick
enough.
at 2.
So this list of departures for a team that was already pretty not good.
Departed like a like a plane at the airport.
Yeah. So they lost Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Nate Solder, Will Hernandez, Billy Price, Matt Skura, Lorenzo Carter, Austin Johnson, Reggie Ragland, James Bradbury, Jabril Peppers, Logan Ryan, and Riley Dixon. When you can't even keep your punter, you know things are going wrong up there in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where you are the New York Giants, by the way.
On the bright side, they have Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. So not good for Daniel Jones because the curse of Tyrod is in town now. Tyrod Taylor, Jordan Akins, Ricky Seals-Jones, John Feliciano, Mark Glowinski, and Justin Ellis are the Giants' offseason acquisitions. We know they drafted Kayvon Thibodeau, and they're sitting. Definitely got to be the favorite to finish in last place in this division.
I mean, Giants, right? Eagles, Cowboys, looks to be a 2-horse race. Then the Commanders come in with Carson Wentz. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any room. Now here could be the question mark, right? Daniel Jones, pretty good with his feet. Let's say that Brian Daboll is able to do something with Daniel Jones, somewhat like what he did with Josh Allen. Now, the talent levels there are completely disproportionate. But let's say that he can. If not, he's got Tyrod Taylor to lean on. Can Saquon Barkley come back to form? Now, I'm very surprised here about the loss of Jabril Peppers. Was a guy who I thought added speed to the defense. And then also Reggie Ragland is a guy, maybe it's just a bias to me that he's coming from Alabama, but a surprising guy to cut. Maybe it just wasn't in the financial terms there. But also bringing in Jordan Akins after losing Evan Ingram, who really never lived up to the hype.
No.
But outside of those Eli Manning, Michael Strahan, those tough defenses, when was the last time that a New York Giant football player stood out to you? OBJ?
OBJ more than likely, but really, and I stand to this day, that was only because of one catch.
I think so too. I totally agree with that.
Otherwise, OBJ is just another name.
You got to give Eli Manning some credit too.
Well, I mean, he's a 1-and-1 guy, right? Like 1 touchdown, 1 interception for his whole career.
But that's the game of football, man.
I know, I get it.
Because I get where you're coming from too, though. It is the game of football because your job as a quarterback, as flashy as some of them make it seem, Joe Namath, really, you look at the numbers, and as flashy as he was on TV, wasn't that statistically great of a quarterback. Now, Peyton Manning, statistically great. Didn't really get it done. Doesn't have as many Super Bowls as Eli Manning. That, to me, is what makes sports, though, is that chemistry, is that culture, is that unquantifiable, the things that are just there, but you can't put a number beside them.
Fair enough. So the question is, will Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley prove that they are the future for the Giants offense?
Absolutely not.
Answer is no.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree. Daniel Jones, inconsistent. Saquon can't stay healthy.
So there you have it, man. Not a lot of hope for the Giants. I've got them finishing 4th in the NFC East. Moving on to Caveman Rick's Philadelphia Eagles. How about you take the notable acquisitions, and I'll hit them up with the departures.
Gotcha. I actually think the Eagles had a very strong offseason. Obviously, trading for A.J. Brown on draft night, in my opinion, they completely fleeced the Tennessee Titans in this trade. If you know what the word fleeced means, it means robbed. They also obviously re-signed Jason Kelsey, Derek Barnett, Fletcher Cox, all coming back, Hassan Reddick, Kaiser White, James Bradbury, the most underrated signing in free agency this year. He was like a top 5 corner in the league last year for a division rival in the New York Giants, and now coming over to Philadelphia. Absolutely incredible defensive anchor there, and safety Anthony Harris.
I mean, the offseason that the Eagles had, particularly when it comes to the draft, I do like the A.J. Brown signing because or trade rather. All right, it started to seem he was unhappy in Tennessee. He, like most other wide receivers, are divas. He didn't play to get the amount of money that he got. He wanted to be in line with what the other wide receivers were making. He didn't play enough for that. Now, here's another thing. He was also in an offense that's run first. A.J. Brown, let me tell you something, buddy. I don't know if you watched any football last year outside of yourself and the Tennessee Titans. The Philadelphia Eagles are a run-first football team. So I don't know what you're expecting out of that. Now, I do like the tandem of Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and then throw in Dallas Goedert and also Jalen Reagor. I've been hearing good things about him, but the draft picks for me is what stands out for the Philadelphia Eagles with Jordan Davis, with Nakobe Dean, keeping both of those guys together from the Georgia defense.
Nakobe Dean they grabbed really late too.
And they got they got him super late, and he was like one of the most underrated players in college football last year. Now some of the guys they lost, Jordan Howard. All right, not that big of a deal. Still not a believer in Miles Sanders. Every year, everybody's like, this is the year for Miles Sanders. I'm still not there. I would rather go with Kenneth Gainwell.
I think we're on year 4 of that, by the way.
Right. It's almost Saquon Barkley.
It is.
Without the injuries, though.
You're right.
Brandon Brooks retired. You've got linebacker Jannard Avery headed over to the Steelers, cornerback Steven Nelson to the Texans, and then a big one here at the safety position in Rodney McLeod headed to the Colts. So your question, what's your plot here for the Eagles?
So 2014 was the last time that the Eagles had a 1,000-yard wide receiver, and that was Jeremy Maclin. Who was the quarterback in 2014 over there? Was that was after Vic, right? So would that have been? Man, okay, maybe Caveman can jump in there.
No, I got
you. Will A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, either way, however you want to twist this question, will one of the two become the first Eagles receiver since then to have a 1,000-yard season?
Dude, I think Mark Sanchez was was the court. No, because he was with the Jets then. I think
Caveman said it was Vic.
Vic in 2014, so maybe they have Mark Sanchez as a backup there.
No way, man.
But yeah, I'm seeing here Mark Sanchez signed March 27th to a 1-year, $2.25 million deal. Actually, I think that A.J. Brown is going to take pressure off of Devontae Smith because Devontae Smith, when it comes to line of scrimmage play, right, Devontae Smith is going to beat you off the line. A.J. Brown is going to push you off the line. So, therefore, I think that you see more double coverages headed A.J. Brown's way, which leaves a lot of double moves for Devontae Smith.
I think a lot of his stats this year are going to have to do with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to have to take a step forward this year, and A.J. Brown can do whatever, and I think the Eagles can make a run, and they can run away with this division looking at their roster.
Fair enough. You guys want to get this sneak this last one in before we get to a break? Do we have time?
Yeah, we got 2 minutes. Let's get it.
All right, let's go to the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Washington Football Team, formerly known as
the R words.
Can't say it.
Redskins. That's what they were called.
I know. It was supposed to be.
No, I got it, but I'm not with all that.
I got you, man. I love you too.
I'm politically
incorrect. Right?
politically confident.
Politically challenged. The Washington Commanders this offseason, I guess I'll take the acquisitions again.
Yeah, go ahead.
We got obviously traded for quarterback Carson Wentz. They were able to keep J.D. McKissick, Terry McLaurin. J.D. McKissick, by the way, who signed somewhere else and decided to come back last second.
Real quick on the Eagles, 2014 starter was Nick Foles. Backup was Mark Sanchez. Third string, Matt Barkley.
Oh, the boys right there. That's a heck of a quarterback room. And they had a 1,000-yard receiver that year.
And Jeremy Maclin, of all people.
No kidding.
Let's go.
Joey Sly, the kicker, coming in. Bobby McCain coming over from the Dolphins to the Commanders as well. And I'll let you continue to go.
Well, one of our best, one of the more fun players to watch in the NFL over the past few years out of Harvard, Ryan Fitzpatrick retired. Tight end Ricky Seals-Jones headed over to the Giants. Offensive lineman Eric Flowers out of there. Offensive guard Brandon Scherf going to the Jaguars, helping to protect Trevor Lawrence. Defensive tackle Matthew Iodonis headed over to the Panthers. John Bostic out of Florida, linebacker, he's gone now. And then also out of Alabama, safety Landon Collins hasn't found a home yet either. So what's your question for this one?
Well, obviously, we know they have Carson Wentz, who was a former, Eagles quarterback, but has really been was really close to being the MVP that season. And they drafted quarterback Sam Howell I think in the second round, who really had a very good preseason debut. So, if you're the coach, week 1, you go with Wentz, you go with Howell.
For me, I'm going Wentz. He had a very decent year. Actually, I would say above decent year last year with the Indianapolis Colts. Had he not had the worst game of the year against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 18, which cost them a playoff spot, who knows how the playoffs play out at that point in time. I'm going Carson Wentz until either injury or proven otherwise.
I agree with that take. I know that the blame always goes on the quarterback, but Jonathan Taylor forgot to get off the bus on that game too.
Hey, that's true, but 3 turnovers.
No,
Carson Wentz had no turnovers on the road that whole year. 3 turnovers in that game.
The Colts hadn't beat the Jaguars in Jacksonville since 2014.
That's pretty wild right there.
That is a crazy stat.
Yeah, I go Carson Wentz too, but I definitely keep my hand on my hip just in case, because I think Sam Howell I think he's going to be a serviceable NFL quarterback.
All right, we've got trivia coming up. 850-215-6290. What souvenir did New York Giant linebacker Lawrence Taylor request from a referee after he played his last game in January 1994? You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is the Panhandle's destination for the Atlanta Braves.
Got him, swinging strike 3.
Ozzie Albies, Austin Riley, Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves are back.
Unbelievable.
And hungry for more. Listen to the world champion Atlanta Braves on a world champion radio station.
Rosario knocked the living daylights out of it.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Earthworks of Northwest Florida knows it's a perfect time for you to update your home. Whether it's routine touch-ups or a new look, Earthworks has just what you need. Sand, stone, mulch, and gravel, pickup or delivery. Visit earthworks.com and request a quote. Discover your dream landscape with Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Love the land you live on. Earthworks of Northwest Florida, 2005 Industrial Drive.
Tired of being overcharged each month for health insurance or finding out you still have significant out-of-pocket costs from copays or deductibles when you do go see the doctor? Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS & Associates. Our independent insurance agency has helped individuals, families, and even small business employees lower their health care insurance costs with no copays, no 80/20 coinsurance, and no deductibles unless you're hospitalized overnight. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Los Rancheros has been doing it right for 20 years. Los Rancheros brings a top-shelf dining experience to you with the opening of their beautiful new building. Watch all college and pro games on Los Rancheros' 14 large-screen TVs with great drink specials daily from 2 to 5 and during all the games. Los Rancheros, the place for live sports and great food on 23rd Street between Jenks and Harrison.
Eye care is important. So why is it that you're often crammed into waiting rooms, rushed in and out of appointments, and left feeling like the physician and staff don't care about you at all? At the Eye Studio, things are done differently. The friendly and knowledgeable staff utilize state-of-the-art equipment and testing, plus education to achieve the best results for every patient. If you're looking for a positive, personalized, modern eye care experience, the Eye Studio is the place for you. Visit eyestudiopcb.com for more information.
From Mariana to Panama City, from Southport to Laguna Beach, this is the Panhandle's home for live and local sports coverage. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room. ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back inside of the Rib Crib Radio Room. You guys go check out their burger, man. It is absolutely phenomenal. If you're not impressed with it, well, give me a call on the air and tell me you're not impressed with it, and I'll smack you right here through this daggone microphone. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes. We've got Kyle Wright in the building, as well as Miles Lashley on the ones and twos.
Breaking news.
We do have a bit of breaking news while we're waiting on a caller for trivia. The Dodgers pitcher, Walker Buehler, will undergo season-ending elbow surgery. Kyle?
So, according to Bob Nightingale on Twitter here, he says that Walker Buehler suffered a strained forearm on June 10th, but the Dodgers were remaining cautiously optimistic that they'd be able to get some innings out of him once the postseason comes around. Now, obviously, heading to the season-ending IL to get elbow surgery. You never really want to see this, especially with a guy as talented as Walker Buehler, man. But, you know, obviously we all have our feelings about the Dodgers. We have our feelings about how baseball is. But Walker Buehler, one of the very few to come up for the Dodgers, like homegrown boy, if you will. And you hate to see it.
You hate to see it unless you're a Braves fan. No, you hate to see injuries regardless. You hate to see it. No, you really do.
Right.
Because that staff, though, is just automatic, man. Yeah. And he's a fun guy to watch throw the ball. So not only are you, which I don't think this guy will ever play with the Dodgers again, but Trevor Bauer.
Right.
Hasn't Dustin May been out for a big part of the year as well? That guy's absolutely electric. So the Dodgers definitely have some work to do. The trivia question, what souvenir did New York Giant great linebacker Lawrence Taylor request from a referee after he played his last game in January of 1994? 850-215-6290. We're looking for a caller for your chance to win $25 to Barbaritos and $25 to not the, but that boot store, along with
that stuck around.
a great 12-pack from our great sponsor, Buffalo Rock. Quick Braves update here, and then we'll keep it rolling. They did sweep the Marlins. I have sweep the Mets right here. I wish that was the case. We'd be in a different standing. A good sweep of the Marlins, though. Strong baseball there. Got a 6-game win streak heading into a 4-game set at Truist Park with the New York Mets. Vaughn Grissom is playing some lights-out baseball. He fits in with that young, exciting, just passionate group of baseball players for the Atlanta Braves. So now the question on the table is, for a lot of Atlanta Braves fans, does Vaughn Grissom take Dansby's job by next year? This is the contract year for Dansby year. Much like Aaron Judge, he's playing for a lot of money. Much like Aaron Judge, outside of the home runs, he's playing really good baseball this year. But we also just saw the Atlanta Braves let go of one of the greatest Atlanta Braves in the history of that franchise. I'm talking about Freddie Freeman, letting him go to the Dodgers. Well, now will we be in a very similar situation with the shortstop now in Dansby Swanson when you got a guy coming up, Von Grissom, who's playing great? Here's another thing, though, about guys quickly coming up playing great. You know this better than a lot of guys being a Cincinnati Reds fan. You'll see a guy come up, have a hot stretch, 2 weeks. The next thing you know, what in the world happened to this guy? Right. So what I'll say about Von Grissom is, let's let the cake bake.
Yeah, a lot of people say it's harder to stay in the MLB than get there.
Yeah.
Yo, I agree with that, because here's how you can get to Major League Baseball, right? An injury happens. You get down to September and the rosters are in flux. There's a little bit more room to play with the rosters. You're on a struggling team, right? And they need to see. There's so many ways to get to Major League Baseball. Some days we've got a doubleheader. We're going to send this guy down because we have enough options left on his contract. We're going to send him down, give him a little bit of a breather, and bring you up just to see what you got.
I couldn't agree more. And my take on the whole Dansby Swanson thing is, I mean, I know this is where you don't want to get lost in the shuffle if you're the Braves. So, I mean, obviously you let the cake bake. I think that's a great expression on this. You see Von Grissom for the rest of the year. If he's able to retain anything close to this, man, Dansby's a guy that I would refuse to overpay for. I know he's a great guy. He's the heart and center of the team. I know all the women love him. He's a pretty boy. But, dude, I mean, he ain't a top 5 shortstop in Major League Baseball, is all I'm saying. He shouldn't be paid as such. And I hope that the Braves don't falter to that with Ronald Acuña's maybe 2 years away from asking for more money. That's inevitable. It's going to happen. He's not an idiot. I do want to say
8 years, $100 million. It's crazy.
Right. It's going to happen. He's going to want more money very, very soon. So you don't want to dish all that money out on a guy like Dansby Swanson, who really, in my opinion, is playing way above his head this year. Mm-hmm. Gotta hope the Braves wake up this weekend, or this week, I should say.
Yeah.
They play so good. They play so good, but for some reason against the Mets, they don't even make the Mets play good. They play terrible. Their lineup can't hit. Nobody can hit. Kyle Wright cannot pitch against teams over 500. I hope that the Braves wake the hell up this week. This has got to be it. You're not that far out of it. The division's still winnable. Just prove that you can contend with the Mets.
Yeah.
You haven't been able to do that this year.
No doubt about it. And we've got a 4-game set coming up with them. Starting tonight, we're in Truist Park. Spencer Strider on the bump for the Bravos with a record of 6-4, taking on cancer survivor Carlos Carrasco with a record of 13-4. In tomorrow's game, you're going to have Charlie Morton taking on Taijuan Walker. Wednesday's game, Max Scherzer, Mad Max, takes the mound against Jake Odorizzi. Thursday, we don't know the pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, but guess who's going to be coming to town? Jacob deGrom. We've got 2 of the toughest hitters or pitchers in baseball playing at a high level right now for the New York Mets. Not only that, Francisco Lindor is coming around. Polar Bear Pete's playing great baseball. They're doing all of this without a guy who we thought that they might have needed, right, in Michael Conforto.
Yeah.
But when you build that chemistry, and then you also got a lot of money with Steve Cohen behind you, things can work out in your favor. 850-215-6290. We're still playing trivia. What souvenir did New York Giant linebacker Lawrence Taylor request from a referee after he played his last game in January 1994? 850-215-6290. We're going to take a short time out. We'll be back after this.
ESPN Northwest Florida is your touchdown headquarters for the Mosley Dolphins and the Auburn Tigers.
Touchdown, Auburn!
Plus, premier college and NFL games.
Touchdown! Incredible!
Your source for the most live football on the Gulf Coast in a rich audio experience. 102.1, 104.3 in the ESPN Northwest Florida app.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, temperatures near 90 this afternoon. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm, light south winds, water temperature in the Gulf 88. Mostly clear around 78 tonight. A 40-50% coverage of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, highs near 90. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Let the adventures begin in a new Kia from Billburg Kia. Now offering 3.49% APR up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2022 Kia Sorento. You can expand your horizons and ride your next chapter with confidence in the outgoing and adventurous 2022 Kia Sorento that has the perfect balance of comfort, safety, performance, and technology. Billburg Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillburgKia.com. We make buying a car easy and give you the peace of mind that you can trust.
Offer from KMF for the purchase of a new 2022 Sorento with $22.36 per month per 1,000 financed at 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Billburg Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers, plus take delivery from dealer stock through 9/6/22.
Lulu's Bar and Resto at Laketown Wharf is the perfect place to eat, drink, and relax. Enjoy a delicious dinner lakeside made with special ingredients. The kitchen is open late until 1 a.m. After dark, the good vibes keep flowing at Lulu's with themed parties and live DJs every single night. Lulu's Bar and Resto, open 7 days a week from 2 p.m. until 2 a.m. with availability for private events and birthday parties. For a complete menu and party schedule, follow Lulu's PCB on Facebook and Instagram.
Get game. WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DM Mariana, Powerlet SC, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Transmission starts in 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting from the Rib Crib Radio Room. The Afternoon Underdogs are taking your calls live. 850-215-6290. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. We are live. We're inside the Rib Crib Radio Room. You're listening to hour number 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Kyle Wright and Miles Lashley. Real quick, for those of you who are still listening with us, Kyle and I will be doing the play-by-play for Mosley Dolphins football. However,
so excited.
He has accepted a new job opportunity, which will, sadly, Chef Chris, I'm extremely ticked off with, no, not at all. You got to do what's best for you. You got to do what's best for the family. So you're going to be taking a new job opportunity. Obviously, this isn't Thursday. We had a lot to do today, Monday, with meeting with Mosley, with checking out what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be doing it at Tommy Oliver, and then troubleshooting. And as many people out there know, troubleshooting has got to be the most frustrating element of anything.
I will say, if you're listening, you probably can't tell. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you're probably looking at me and David Hayes, and you're like, oh, those two boys have been up since about 5 o'clock this morning.
And it's true.
It is very true. But today's been a long day. But last time in the studio for a little while, did take a great opportunity that I would have, honestly, with a newborn coming here soon and a 3-year-old son as is, would have been really, I will say, stupid for me to turn down.
Right.
I'll be making quite a bit of money. But with that being said, I had to choose. Do I still want to do the afternoon show for a little while, or do I want to jump in the booth on Friday nights with David Hayes, call some Mosley football? So obviously, at the end of the day, the call there was Mosley football. Maybe at the end of the season, hopefully. I don't want to say maybe. I will say more than likely at the end of the football season, we'll be able to get this back on track and get me back in here once a week. What day that'll be, I'm sure Dave will make it work for me because I am the be-all, end-all. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, one thing I like about it, I've got a great crew that helps me here. Not only is Miles Lashley going to be a permanent part of the fixture, it'll be David Hayes and Miles Lashley being the core. But each day I'm going to have in different guests, and I'm trying to work on, really my only days now are Mondays and Thursdays that I got to figure out. It's going to be, I think we're going to call it the Tuesdays Township, with Barrett Townsend and Tyler Bishop.
Which was a great show, by the way.
And I really enjoy working with those guys. Wednesdays, we're going to go to, for all of my older radio listeners out there. I'm going to have some Brian Haddad, and Coach Andy Siegel, I believe, is going to be with me on Wednesdays. Thursdays now are open, and then Friday I have Adam Goff and Caveman Rick. As always, me and Miles will be here. Fridays are going to be a lot more slim for me moving on into the future, but just want to let you guys know, really just want to say thank you because, man, when we build a show together, it's all about the listeners and what we think would be the best for you. Do got to give some shout out here to Caveman Rick because it was his idea with the name Township. Let's move on to a fun division here, the AFC East. We're going to save what we perceive to be the best for last, maybe because you're wearing a jersey. Maybe it's because you got 305 on your hat. I don't know. But let's start with a team who's got a lot of question marks in the AFC East. You want to go Patriots or Jets? Because I think there's an equal amount there.
We could definitely start. Let's start with the Patriots here.
All right.
I like the idea of starting with the Pats.
All right, you hit the acquisitions, and I'll hit the departures.
I got one thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
Y'all saw Mac Jones cracked the top 100 players in the NFL somehow.
Okay.
You're kidding. You're joking.
Who made that list, and how many bottles of bourbon deep were they?
I don't know, but we need them on the phone.
We do need to get them. No doubt, though. I mean, I love Mac Jones, and I like we said earlier, the quarterback's job isn't to have great quarterback statistics. Tom Brady in his 40s has done more in his 3 years at that decade than he did in his 20s. But he's got a almost two handfuls worth of rings, so that matters a lot. Game manager, however, it is going to be totally different without the offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels.
Absolutely. So Patriots bringing in this offseason, pretty busy offseason for them, I will say. Bringing in Ty Montgomery, who's like 1,000 years old at this point. Re-signing James White, who actually just announced his retirement from the NFL, so I'm not really sure when this was updated. It's obviously been a minute. Devontae Parker, they got from the Miami Dolphins. They signed offensive linemen Trent Brown and Darrell Williams. Able to sign linebackers Jawan Bentley and Mac Wilson. Malcolm Butler coming back to the city where he made his name known.
How do you think that is going to work out? Because, apparently him and old Bill didn't get along too well.
I mean, I think Malcolm probably got a little bit big for his britches because he was a pretty mid corner and made one huge play and probably thought he was a lot better than that. But maybe he's learned a little bit since falling on his face in Tennessee and where was he last year? Last year he was in Tennessee. I forgot where he was in between. Jarrell Peppers, Nick Folk, Matthew Slater coming in as well for the Pats.
All right, and then to their departures, quick reminder, the Dave & Buster's draft is down to 2 entries. We've only got 2 spots. Let's get those filled today. 850-215-6290. You have to be available to be at Dave & Buster's August 20th, this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we're talking here about the Patriots and who they've lost. Jarrett Stidham, who's been playing very well with the Raiders to this point in the preseason. Is it preseason? Absolutely. But you do, as a coach, don't you like to see your quarterback go out there and do things that you want to see him do? Execute the offense in the correct way? Well, to this point, it looks like he is. They've also lost Brandon Bolden, also going to the Raiders. Shaq Mason, this is going to be huge, traded to the Buccaneers. Buccaneers dealing with a lot of offensive line problems, especially the centerpiece in Ryan Jensen. They lost Ted Karras to the Bengals, Chase Winovich to the Browns, Dante Hightower. That's
a big name still out there.
That to me is going to be one of the biggest ones. What you got, Miles?
He was an older guy. I mean, I can see it.
Right, but here's my thing. You go to the Cowboys, and who was the middle linebacker that they held on to forever? Was it Sean Lee, right? And then it's Van Der Esch behind him, right? Yep. All right. They held on to him forever, and I think one of the reasons why is you want to – he's the quarterback of your defense, right? The middle linebacker, quarterback of your defense. You want to get the signals. You want to get whoever's coming in to replace him as comfortable as possible. And if you got Dante Hightower coming in off the bench, I mean, come on. Yeah, I'll give you the age, losing a little bit of speed, but where he is mentally is a guy that he reverberates the Patriot way.
Absolutely, man. So the big question.
The other
sorry.
one, J.C. Jackson. J.C. Jackson, to me. Kyle Van Noy is another one, but he was with you guys last year, right?
No, he was with us. Then he went back to New England for last year.
Yeah.
And now he's in L.A.
Now he's with the Chargers, and also J.C. Jackson to the Chargers. J.C. Jackson going to the Chargers as a defensive back, as a cornerback. There's a reason why I'm picking the Chargers to win the AFC West this year.
Dude, what do you do? How do you throw the ball against that team? JC on one side, Asante on the other side. How do you write with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa
coming at you? You don't have a lot of time at all. And then Derwin James in the background. I mean, they are strong. They are stout. So not only are they good, and Justin Herbert's going to be even better on the offensive side of the ball, but the defense there as well. But we're not talking about the Chargers here. We're talking about the Patriots. What's the question you got for the Pats?
The big question for the Patriots here is, after losing the secondary anchors, J.C. Jackson, obviously Stephon Gilmore, back-to-back off seasons here. We know that they've also lost Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, Chase Winovich. What are our expectations here for the Patriots defense, which, by the way, carried them into the playoffs last year? Regardless of top 100 NFL player Mac Jones being,
We have a comment on that as well. What do you got on this, Miles?
I think they'll be fine. Bill Belichick's always been a defensive guy. I think he'll piece them together just fine.
All right. So for me, man, I agree with that. That's going to be the strong side of the ball. Bill Belichick is a defensive-minded guy. 2020 was a down year for him. Why? They were missing 8 or 9 guys due to not wanting to play that year. So the defense will be fine. I don't think that Mac Jones necessarily takes a step back, but without him taking a step forward and creating a relationship with Devontae Parker, I just think that they're going to get in games now. Their division has got tougher. Yeah, the Jets, you can mark that one off on the schedule. All right, that's a win. The Patriots are not just a walk in the park anymore. The Bills are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowls. Mac Jones can't just be Mac Jones, the game manager. So Eric with an A said, hey, there's no question that Mac and Cheese belongs in the top 100. He was a rookie quarterback, and what did the Patriots do the year before without him? He belongs without a doubt. What the Patriots did the year before Mac Jones, I just gave you the reason why they were so trash. Half their team opted out due to COVID. Now, last year, I'm going to give more of the credit. Hey, I'm a big Alabama fan. I'm a big Mac Jones guy. I root for him, no doubt about it. But to sit here and say that he's one of the best 100 players in the game, the reason why he's one of the best 100 is because he's a quarterback, and that position gets a little bit more notoriety. You dig into some of these other defensive players and what they do for their team, it's just hard for me. Now, I mean, whoever made this list, I would love to see exactly where Mac Jones is on the top 100.
85.
80. Okay, see, that's insane. That's insane to me because there's no way that they are. No, there's not 100 player. Mac Jones is like 111, 110. The only reason that he's up in that area, now I could be proven wrong. My thing is that they weren't doing anything special last year. He was doing it the Tom Brady way. Was Tom Brady a top 100 quarterback before Tom Brady started winning Super Bowls? Was Tom Brady winning Super Bowls because he was out there slinging it like Joe Montana? No. It's because he had a great ball coach in Bill Belichick who devised a game plan. His quarterback went along with the game plan, and instead of, hey, it's 3rd and 4, but let's try to get 24 yards here to put ourselves in striking position from the end zone, Bill's like, no, let's get 5 or 6 yards, get the first down, and get ready to kick a field goal because our leg over there on the sideline and Adam Vinatieri at the point in time is going to put it through the uprights and move us on because it doesn't matter about the statistics. It matters about the wins and losses. So that is an edge for Mac Jones, right? The wins and losses and doing what your coach wants you to do, but we're not talking about winning players here in the top 100. We're talking about the top 100 players.
Couldn't agree more. You want to move on to the Jets real quick?
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's go on to the Jets this offseason, bringing in Joe Flacco, re-signing Braxton Berrios, Tyler Conklin, C.J. Uzoma, obviously from the AFC champion Bengals, coming over to play tight end, Laken Tomlinson, Solomon Thomas, Jacob Martin, DJ Reed, Jordan Whitehead, able to re-sign LaMarcus Joyner and sign kicker Greg Zuerlein.
All right, so who did they lose? Jameson Crowder. A guy who you can't rely on huge fantasy points, but he's not a guy to have down there plugged on your bench. And he's going to be with the Bills this year, so watch out for him. Offensive tackle Morgan Moses headed over to the Ravens. Shaq Lawson to the Bills. Marcus May headed to the Saints in what's going to be one of my favorite backfields, or defensive backfields, to keep an eye on next year. What's the question for the Jets?
We talked about the acquisitions, but one thing that you really couldn't get on paper here, or that I wasn't able to put on paper, was the New York Jets draft. There's no doubt that the New York Jets won this draft.
You have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds.
Right.
2 of them have to hit.
I mean, able to snag Jermaine Johnson, I think 22 overall, who was projected to be a top 10 pick at one point. Obviously getting Garrett Wilson, who I still think was the second best Ohio State wide receiver. Not sure how he went before Chris Olave, but I guess the need was a little bit different.
I think it's the ability of what Chris Olave is more of a one-dimensional wide receiver, where Garrett, you can go slot, you can go outside. And I think specifically for the slot, when you're talking about Elijah Moore being on the outside for you, Olave, right, with the Saints, he could possibly have to be your number 1 wide receiver because it's been 2 years for Michael Thomas.
No, that's fair. So with that being said, and who was their first pick in the draft? Was it Sauce Gardner?
Yeah,
Right.
Sauce.
So,
But he's not. He has to earn that nickname according to his NFL teammates.
I like that.
I love it as well.
So how do the Jets stack up against a growingly competitive division? Do you think they go over or under 7 wins?
I think they get right around there. I would say 6, 7. They have a really good team. They have to put the pieces together to get over that hump.
We're talking about the Jets here, right?
We are talking about the Jets.
Okay, that over under is not a huge number. Had Zach Wilson not run into the complications with his ACL, I really root for Robert Saleh, for Coach Saleh. I really do. I'm excited to see some of the pieces that they've brought together. Will the defense be even better than it was last year? But 2 glaring things stand out to me. How long is Zach Wilson out? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? Is it 6 weeks? You miss 6 weeks, that 7 is looking daunting. Then again, all right, he's going to be coming back from an injury, and one of his best protectors, who wasn't with him last year either, but Mekhi Becton, is going to be out again. I'm going to have to go under the number 7.
Big-time acquisition that I forgot to mention. Right after Mekhi Becton went down, they did go out and get Dwayne Brown, who is a former Pro Bowler as well. But I'm right there with you. I'm going to go ahead and say under. I'm going to go 6 and 11. I forget we're playing 17-game seasons now. Their schedule is actually pretty brutal for a 4th-place schedule. I mean, when you got 6 games against the Patriots, Dolphins, and Bills, it's not really going to be an easy road regardless. But I do think that they're getting closer. I do think that Robert Saleh will turn his team around. When I tell you that I'm happy that Zach Wilson isn't hurt for all the wrong reasons, I was really afraid that if he was out for the season that they would trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, and I didn't want to play that guy twice.
Yeah.
I mean, especially not with some of the offensive playmakers that they have over there now.
Jimmy G's a winner.
And Jimmy G's a winner, regardless of what people think. I will argue pro Jimmy G to the grave.
Joe Flacco was with who last year? Was it Denver?
I think he was on the Jets last year.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the Jets. It was the Jets.
He's still kind of elite.
No. Elite is a strong word. That's like saying that you hate somebody. No, Mama said you dislike somebody. Elite. No, I would say I would use a term that my good friend Old School would use. He's serviceable. Flacco's serviceable, But the veteranship could prove a point. I mean, not prove a point. It could play a factor. All right, you've got faster wide receivers now. There's youth all around the field. If the defense, you talk about up front and that pass rush that they got. Quinn Williams just in and of himself, it's all about balance. To me, anyways, the teams that win, you look at the Rams last year, balance with a lot of superstars and a very unbalanced checkbook, so it would seem, but still a Super Bowl nonetheless. Hey, we don't win Super Bowls here because we're the underdogs, the afternoon underdogs. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes along with Miles, Nashton, Lashley, and Kyle Wright. We're going to take a quick timeout. Don't forget the Braves' first pitch, 6:20, going on against the New York Metropolitans.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Dan Patrick Show.
The Browns are already paying Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, and part of Baker Mayfield's contract, and now you're going to bring in Jimmy Garoppolo. You're on the clock because by the end of this month, you have to make the decision whether you're going to keep him, and then you guarantee his contract.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, temperatures near 90 this afternoon. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm, light south winds, water temperature in the Gulf, 88. Mostly clear, around 78 tonight. A 40-50% coverage of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, highs near 90. This weather forecast has been brought to you by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida are proud members of the Panama City Beach Chamber. We'd like to welcome the newest members to the Beach Chamber.
Barbara Busini, LLC, Alex Air Conditioning, G&J Commercial Laundry, Keller Williams Success Realty, and Leather and Lace Wedding and Event Company.
Congratulations from the area's only sports radio station, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Eye care is important. So why is it that you're often crammed into waiting rooms, rushed in and out of appointments, and left feeling like the physician and staff don't care about you at all? At the Eye Studio, things are done differently. The friendly and knowledgeable staff utilize state-of-the-art equipment and testing, plus education to achieve the best results for every patient. If you're looking for a positive, personalized, modern eye care experience, the Eye Studio is the place for you. Visit eyestudiopcb.com for more information.
Hey, I'm Jay DeMarcus.
I'm Gary LaVox.
And I'm Joe Don Rooney.
And we're Rascal Flats.
Music has always been a huge part of our lives. It's something we started pursuing as kids and never gave up on. It took a lot of hard work and dedication, but it's paid off. Music has allowed us to travel around the world and share some very unique experiences. So don't let anyone tell you your dreams aren't possible, because you know what? They are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Live from the Rib Crib Studio. Doing what other stations can't. The Afternoon Underdogs is live and local. 850-215-6290.
Always be sure to listen for the dial tone.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's a little... We are back inside the Rib Crib radio room. You guys are riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and the Braves are coming up right after us here at 6 o'clock. The coverage starts. First pitch, 6:20. We've got Carlos Carrasco on the bump for the Mets and on the hill for the Atlanta Braves. It's going to be a big one tonight. I believe we've got Spencer Strider from...
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, I was about to say, I just had to make sure that I'm not just spewing misinformation around here. Now, I did want to get to a text real quick back from Eric with an A. He said, because we were texting back and forth a little bit, I said, I'm a Bama guy. I love some Mac, and I think he's good, but top 100 is tough. He said, well, I look at it this way. In the top 100, how many of those guys were responsible for taking their team to a playoff appearance as a rookie? It's just crazy, bro. He did that. Give it to him for being smart enough to listen to Belichick. I'm not taking anything away from Mac Jones. I'm not taking a single thing away from Mac Jones. I think he did exactly what he's got to do. What I'm saying is if I sat down, looked at the numbers, I wouldn't be surprised to find Mac Jones on my list sitting outside of that. Because also, Eric with an A, I'm sure that there's some cornerbacks in there who are not getting the necessary recognition. Some rookie cornerbacks in there not getting recognition for what they did in order for their team to win a championship. There's some offensive linemen who are not going to get the recognition. So when quarterbacks just get a little bit of that special treatment, and there's no problem with it. Me as an Alabama fan, heck yeah, way to go, Mac Jones. I'm proud of you. Do I think you're a top 100 player? No, not necessarily, but that's the beauty of sports. Whoever made this list, he thought he was the 85th best player in the National Football League. Good for that guy. Eric with an A, if you were to make a list, I would stand by your list as well. Some of the things may not, maybe we differ in opinion in that situation, but if we all agreed, why would we even have these talk shows that make it so much fun?
That's true.
8-5. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, and Mac did post an impressive 22 passing touchdowns last year, so way to carry that team on your back, Mac.
I mean, and the point here that I love what Eric is making, he did what Coach Belichick asked him to do, which is your job as a quarterback. And like we mentioned, there's a reason why in his 20s, Tom Brady's numbers don't look nothing like Father Time Tom Brady's numbers do in his 3 short years. What's he, 44, 45 now, as a football player.
So by Eric with an A's logic, kids, you just listen to your coach and you'll be a top player in the league at any point.
Well, here's what I got to say, and here's where I agree totally with Eric with an A. You do listen to your coach because at the end of the day, you can have all of your great statistics, and that looks great. But like Derek Jeter said, at the end of the day, they're not looking at your numbers as much as they're looking at the wins and losses, the championships, more than anything else. Let's move on. Let's talk about one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. If nothing else, the AFC East. If nothing else, the AFC Championship. I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills.
I would almost put the Buffalo Bills in a LA Rams kind of seat this year, where I will say kind of feeling Super Bowl or bust for this team this year. We got Tavon Austin coming in, Jamison Crowder, Isaiah McKenzie has been re-signed, O.J. Howard to come in and probably run block, I would assume. Roger Saffold, Mitch Moore, Shaq Lawson, Von Miller, a big acquisition there, signing him in free agency. In my opinion, I think they slightly may have overpaid for Von Miller a little bit.
Yeah, but to bring that presence to the defensive line.
That's something you can't fake right there, is having the presence in itself. Also bringing in defensive tackles Jordan Phillips and Tim Settle.
And then on the departuring side, Mitchell Trubisky headed to the Steelers, fighting for that QB1 job. Let's see how working with Ken Dorsey and Brian Daboll worked out for him. It's not like he was a slouch with the Bears. It was that he was playing for a team who, I mean, everything was on the shoulders of Mitch Trubisky. I mean, it's the opposite of the Mac Jones effect. And also, Matt Breida headed over to the Giants. Wide receiver Cole Beasley seems to still be a free agent, along with Emmanuel Sanders. Offensive lineman Darrell Williams as well. Defensive end Jerry Hughes headed over to the Texans. Star Lotulelele is a free agent. Defensive tackle Harrison Phillips is now with the Minnesota Vikings. Linebacker A.J. Klein still in search of a job. And then Levi Wallace, who was a stud for Buffalo last year. Surprised that they did not make a move to re-sign him. I don't know if this was a trade or how this worked out. But Levi Wallace, Minka Fitzpatrick are going to be some dogs over there in Pittsburgh. No doubt about it. What is your question here for the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think it's a question that everybody's asking about the Bills, and it's a question that's been for the Buffalo Bills, I would say, for the past 3 or 4 years. You've got James Cook, you've got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, Duke Johnson. How are we feeling about the current Bills running back core? Do we think that this is finally the year where one of these guys can step up and take just a little bit of heat off of Josh Allen.
So here's what I like about it. What I'm hearing more than anything is that come week 3, come week 4, James Cook is probably going to end up being your guy. That very well could be the case. But we know how it is. Like, I'm not foreseeing James Cook to come in and pull a Najee Harris. And what I mean by that is not the level of which Najee Harris played at, but the percentage of snaps he was on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You also got Devin Singletary, Zach Moss. Zach Moss is going to be more of your third down back kind of receiver out of the backfield, and then Duke Johnson can kind of be a bruiser for you. I think that what you're going to see is a lot of James Cook on first and second down, some Zach Moss, and then Duke Johnson in short yardage situations.
I couldn't agree more. I think that it's going to become a very, very strong committee kind of thing. Duke Johnson coming off a couple of impressive games there at the end of last year where he showed that maybe he's still got a little bit left in the tank. Still waiting on that Zach Moss breakout. I've never really been a Devin Singletary believer.
Yeah.
But I always have been a James Cook believer. The talk when he was committed to FSU, obviously this was pre-Jimbo leaving and everything, was that he was going to be better than Dalvin. Well, he couldn't stay healthy at Georgia. Maybe he does the opposite of Dalvin Cook, and he's able to stay healthy here at the NFL level and prove that he is better than his brother. Who knows?
I like it. And then the other question that I have about the Buffalo Bills before we move on to the Dolphins. All right, Josh Allen each year has progressed to another level on the stairs. All right, Brian Daboll has been, with him along the way for the most part. Now you got Brian Daboll calling plays, head coaching the New York Football Giants, and the offensive coordinator is going to be Ken Dorsey, who was the quarterback, I believe, for the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, who one of the best teams to ever get it done. My question is, with that change of offensive coordinator, and I've asked this on the show before, but is that going to have – I mean, being an offensive coordinator is a big deal, especially when you got a guy like Josh Allen. Yeah, he's learning the game more. He's getting more accustomed to being able to call his audibles and stuff. But as the OC, right, situational football is huge. Not only do you got to come out with your 10 to 12 plays that you're going to have scripted, that job seems easy enough, right? Because then you get to see what you're getting out of the defense. What are they doing when you're motioning Stephon Diggs from one side of the field to the other? Just kind of trying to exploit what you can. Is Ken Dorsey being the new OC, is that going to maybe, play with, I don't want to say the talent level, but the game plan of the Buffalo Bills?
Time will tell. I mean, I hate to sidestep that question, but that's something I haven't really thought about to this point. How important was Brian Daboll? I mean, how many quarterbacks have we seen kind of take a regression after their offensive coordinator left? These offensive coordinators are a lot more involved than I think we realize.
Yeah.
And they gotta trust those 11 guys on the field to make the play. And when they're out there, they do. And when every play they call, they think they're going to get it done on this play.
You know who I'm expecting two big breakouts, and we started to see it last year, right? Gabriel Davis becomes the new Cole Beasley for the Buffalo Bills, and then a tight end. One to watch out, in my opinion, for fantasy, because Josh Allen, big guy, big quarterbacks that are mobile, love to find those tight ends at the back of the end zone. Dawson Knox. I'm really intrigued to see how he plays out. Let's move over to the final team here in the AFC East, and you wanted to kind of route this one a little differently.
Do we have time?
We got all the time in the world, brother. It's Monday, and we're rolling with it however it goes.
Okay, all right, yeah. So I'll let you start with the departures, and then I got a whole spiel here on how I just
Super Bowl.
Go ahead. I got this laid out. Let me get there. And David knows I won't tell you something I don't believe.
That is true.
About my teams.
And he believes a lot about his teams. I mean, the fact that he believes in the Dolphins, come on, y'all.
Yes.
But let's look at some of the notable departures for the Dolphins. First off, quarterback Jacoby Brissett looking to be QB1 for the Browns for the first 6 weeks,
way to go,
possibly
Jacoby.
more. Then Duke Johnson, we just talked about him heading over to the Bills, also losing Phillip Lindsay to the Indianapolis Colts. This one, not so big of a deal here, right? Wide receiver Will Fuller seems to get about 4 good games a year. I believe he is still a free agent, also losing Albert Wilson to the Vikings, offensive lineman Jesse Davis to the Vikings, cornerback Justin Coleman to the Seahawks, and former Tennessee Titans and I believe Patriots as well, cornerback Jason McCourty, just an awesome player. He has retired. I'll let you take off with the acquisitions.
Sir, there are 4 things that go into becoming a Super Bowl winning team. Number 1 is keeping the reasons that you have been successful in the past. And we're going through a head coaching change right now. But they were able to keep defensive coordinator Josh Boyer. They were able to keep Mike Gesicki around via franchise tag. They were able to re-sign Xavier Howard to a big extension and able to re-sign Emmanuel Ogbah to a big extension as well. So keeping the guys that have been a part of your small successes is a very important thing to do. Now you got to fix your small needs. So signing punter Thomas Morstead to a big extension. If you know, we have Tua Tagovailoa at quarterback. We're going to be punting the ball. So having somebody that can put the ball downfield is very, very important.
I can't believe this man is making a spill about the punter.
Can he punt it to the receivers?
But listen, your pass rush has been a big, as good as Emmanuel Ogbah is, he's needed somebody to take a little bit of heat off of him. Jalen Phillips did a good job in that last season. What do? You bring in a veteran like Melvin Ingram to help do that as well.
Yes.
Also, something else, when you've got a guy like Tua, I was just throwing a little shade because Dave's sitting to my left over here.
No doubt.
I actually really believe in Tua, but when you got a guy like Tua who is injury prone, you got to have a good backup quarterback.
Who's also injury prone.
Here. But you bring in Teddy Bridgewater. I love this. Number 3, you got to protect your quarterback. So they signed 2 of the 3 best offensive linemen on the market, and Teron Armstead and Connor Williams coming over. Really excited about that.
Teron Armstead was the number 1 free agent overall.
Was the number 1 free agent, period,
right.
overall. And Connor Williams was the 3rd best available offensive
lineman in 51. I mean, we're talking 51 out of 100 players, top free agents. Eric with an A, please don't give us too much flack here because we did not make these rankings.
And then, of course, number 4, the biggest thing that the Dolphins needed, skill position players. This has been a team that has really been stuck in a rut for the last couple of years with just garbage at the wide receiver position, other than Jalen Waddle last year, who came out with an incredible season. But Jalen Waddle's not going to be that guy, I don't think, that's going to go 1,500 yards. I think Jalen Waddle is more of exactly what he did last year, 100 catches. 100 catches, about 800 to 1,000 yards, and about 9 to 10 touchdowns. But you go get the most explosive wide receiver, I will say, in NFL history, in Tyreek Hill. You go get one of the fastest rising offensive skill players in football in Cedric Wilson. And what else do? The Dolphins haven't had a good running back since probably Ronnie Brown, Ricky Williams, that tandem. So instead of signing one and putting all your eggs into one basket, they go out and get Chase Edmonds, Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, and
he's not on there, but Myles Gaskin.
And Myles Gaskin is still there. So you go sign Sony Michel, Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds. I've never said this out loud, but I'm very, very proud of what the Dolphins did. Being able to retain all the defensive success that we did, being able to retain the same defensive coordinator, and hiring an offensive-minded head coach. Man, I'm very excited about this team.
Yeah, this is absolutely the year for Tua. My favorite thing that y'all did, outside of bringing in a bruiser of a running back, maybe Myles Gaskin can change his game up a little bit, become that guy. I really think that once it's all said and done, 3-4 weeks in, we're talking about Raheem Mostert kind of anchoring down that run. It's still going to be kind of running back by committee. Yeah. You're still going to see some Sony Michel. Chase Edmonds did a heck of a job last year for the Arizona Cardinals. What they did on the offensive line, what they did for the wide, at least the second best offseason, bar none. To put it, when you tell a quarterback this is your make or break year, and then you go out, and not only do you have one of the best rookie wide receivers from last year in Jalen Waddle, then you bring in Tyreek Hill. Only question there, can you catch in traffic? You got one of the best tight ends in Mike Gesicki, and then Cedric Wilson to kind of stretch the field. I mean, all of that speed, but still good hands. Looks like we've got a caller who's riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Who are we speaking with, and what do you got for us?
It's Fireman Harry up here in the edge of Mariana.
All right. Hey, Fireman Harry, I'm going to need you to keep it real quick, buddy.
All right, I got a quick one for you. This is a fantasy thing. I don't do fantasy. Do y'all adjust for weather in your fantasy? I mean, I guess it may depend on the rules of the league. Late in the year, like you go to a run-heavy lineup, and I think about the difference between Miami and Buffalo and New England and New York in the division you're talking about.
Weather plays a huge role, but at the same time, not all of your players are playing in the same vicinity. So I think the biggest thing is your opponent. So if if your wide receiver is going up against a top 10 defensive squad, then you might not want to play that. If you're playing with a quarterback who's going to be dealing with a lot of rain and he's not a very mobile guy, you definitely you want to move another direction. We definitely take those aspects into consideration.
I got a Miami personnel question. Cedric Wilson.
Yes, sir.
You're talking about. Is he the old Tennessee player, the Tennessee ball player?
Cedric.
I mean, how old is that guy?
Cedric Wilson. Let me pull that up real quick because I don't know off the top of my head.
He's got some age on him. If that's the same one, there was a guy that played for the Vols. He was a good wide receiver. He could have been a quarterback one year when they had the injuries, but
I do not think it's the same guy.
No, this guy he was drafted in. He was drafted in 2018 in the 6th round out of Boise State.
For that matter. I mean, I think Cedric Wilson I'm thinking about. But anyway, keep up the good work. Y'all are great information because I like to, I'm a Greg Cosell guy. I'm an old school guy. I know you got a guy named Old School. But anyway, keep it up. Good work, David. Thank you.
Hey, thank you so much for the call. With that, we're going to take a break, and we might make this next segment the last segment of the afternoon. All right. I think that's what we're
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is Braves Country.
This one's going supersonic.
Hi, this is Ron, the grand prize winner of the 5-year flyaway to see the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for this trip of a lifetime, and congratulations to ESPN Northwest Florida for 5 years of broadcasting history and bringing us the Atlanta Braves.
Sunshine, a few scattered clouds, temperatures near 90 this afternoon. Slight chance of a shower thunderstorm, light south winds, water temperature in the Gulf 88. Mostly clear around 78 tonight. A 40-50% coverage of showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, highs near 90. This weather forecast has been brought to you by KHS and Associates, your source for affordable health insurance. For 104.3 and 102.1 ESPN Northwest Florida, I'm meteorologist Tim Root.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. There's a crime going down in your garage, and your car's lifebloods are all over the floor. Don't call the SVU for your SUV just yet, because when I come back, I'll conduct a crime scene investigation.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
Garages hold the evidence of automotive foul play, so it's time for a GSI, or crime scene investigation, to check out vehicles' fluids that have leaked onto the floor. Here's how to identify some prime suspects. Clear and odorless with a soapy feel could mean brake fluid, while a sweet-smelling fluorescent green or orange screams coolant. Slick with a smell of sulfur could point to gear lube, and a black puddle below the engine cries leaking oil. So who's the prime suspect for your vehicle's abuse? That would be you. To prevent a DOA SUV or car or truck, perform recommended maintenance and monitor your vehicle's life fluids. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
He listens to Post Malone. He drives a Honda with ground effects and has Pennsylvania tattooed on his right tricep.
You're looking at a bad man.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Rib Crib Radio Room, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We are back. This is going to be the last segment of the day. Thank you guys for riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm David Hayes along with Kyle Wright, Miles Nashtet, Lashley is on the ones and twos. Don't forget that 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is not only your home for the Auburn Tigers. You can listen right here in ultra high fidelity starting September 3rd, but might be my last show in the studio with my man Kyle Wright, but you can hear us on Fridays calling Mosley Dolphins football most Friday evenings under the lights.
Absolutely, and to all the listeners and the callers and everything, thank you guys so much for lending me your ear for the last couple of months. It's going to be fun to be doing the Mosley High School football on Friday nights, and I hope to be back in the studio before the end of 2022, but, you know, whatever happens, happens. I won't say goodbye. We'll say see you later.
Das Vidania is what I'm saying. Get out of here. No,
I
I'm
love
just kidding.
Vidalia onions. They're good.
All right, so I've got, let's see, this league is filled. As long as HVAC Mike can make it, I'm missing one in one league and one in the champions. I've got 2 spots. It looks like 2 spots I've got open. If we can get these 2 spots filled, we can do the randomizer for the draft tomorrow. I've got the draft boards ready. Saturday, 11 a.m., the Dave and Buster's draft with 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Now, we left off talking about the AFC East Miami Dolphins. What was the question that you had surrounding the Miami Dolphins?
We've already addressed it a little bit. We've talked about it on this show before, but now it's really time to get into it a little bit because we both love this man to death. We both want nothing but the success.
Man, thank you so much.
For this young man. Now, what are our confidence levels in Tua Tagovailoa? And you're an Alabama fan over there as well, so I would like you to chime in too. But
Just
what
trying
happens,
to get as tall as you over here on the camera.
Remember when I did the King Kyle segment and I went way up? Confidence levels in Tua, and what happens this year if he underperforms or goes down again?
All right, they have one of the best backups in the league sitting right behind him.
And Teddy Bridgewater?
Teddy Two Gloves.
Teddy Two Gloves. Well, you would be like, hey, y'all need to go get Gardner Minshew, man. Go get Gardner Minshew. He's going to be awesome in them cutoff jean shorts.
Y'all just wait.
I would love Gardner Minshew to be the Dolphins quarterback.
In all seriousness?
If Tua went down and we couldn't trade for Jimmy G, if it was too late to get Garoppolo at that point, I would love to get Gardner Minshew in South Beach.
All right, so for me to answer this question, my confidence levels into it, am I giving a number here? If I were to give a number, my number is 6.5 to 7. 6.5, 7 for my confidence level into it. What happens if he goes down? Depends on the injury. If we're talking about a lower extremity, a leg injury, I think Tua strongly considers retirement. If we're talking about like a wrist or something like that, something that he hasn't injured before, and maybe say it was, slinging it over the top and ring finger hits the helmet or something like that. All right, I'm not going to put that into your injury concerns. But if he underperforms and I'm Mike McDaniel, and I'm sitting here thinking, look at what we've got going on in the draft next year. Look at some of these pieces we paid for this year. We did this for a window. We started a window here, and we need a guy to bring us to it.
By the way, you don't have a first-round pick next year.
Right. No first-round pick and no third-round pick in 2024.
Tom Brady's
fault.
That
does change things.
Yeah, and Sean Payton, too. Golly.
Blame Tom Brady, blame Sean Payton, also blame the owner and Stephen Ross.
1,000%.
However, if he underperforms, though, you've got to go another direction because you've done I hate to say it because it is just 1 year with a coach who finally cares, and I don't want to throw any shade on Coach Brian Flores. I was very surprised when they let him go.
You don't want to, I will.
But
I will gladly do it.
Well, I understand that, but I'm saying I thought that he did a great job while he was there. He also turned down, the opportunity to take $100,000 per loss. So respect for the integrity there, respect for the job that he did with the Dolphins. But the thing is as a head coach, your relationship with quarterback 1, quarterback 2, quarterback 3, quarterback 4 is of the utmost importance. So if you're going to devise game plans that do not help your quarterback, then there's issues there. I think that you'll get a little bit different from Mike McDaniel this year.
I agree with that as well, man. Finally having a coach that is willing to invest and believe into Tagovailoa, I hope and I pray. I love this guy to death. I got a green and orange jersey from you the day he got drafted by Miami. Wish it would have been teal and orange, but it is what it is. That's a little inside joke between Dave and I. But I'm looking forward to it. I think that he does take a big step forward this year, and it might be like we were talking about earlier with Dak Prescott. It might be because Tua knows that he has to take a step forward this year. There are no more excuses. You've got Tyreek. You've got Cedric Wilson. You've got Jalen Waddle. You've got Mike Gesicki.
Speed's everywhere.
It's everywhere, man.
Xavier Howard's still one of the best cornerbacks out there. The defense is playing well. We've got, 6 minutes left in the show. Let's play a little bit of rapid fire. All right, yeah, cut it short, whatever.
I missed you, man.
Rapid fire AFC East versus NFC East, but quickly, did Malik Willis put pressure on Ryan Tannehill?
Absolutely, he did. He added a whole new dimension to this offense. He's scrambling all over the place. He's not like running for his life, but he's just running the ball in general. If I was Ryan Tannehill, I might wake up a little bit.
Go ahead.
Ryan Tannehill's made his money. I don't think he's worried.
Dude, I'm as a Titans fan very displeased with the contract that Ryan Tannehill owns as one of the biggest dead cap hits in all of football. However, I'll say that, yeah, maybe a little bit of pressure, but this is still Ryan Tannehill's team until he starts turning the ball over unnecessarily, which could very well happen. More pressure to perform. Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts. Started off with Miles. Keep it quick here, bud. All right, you weren't listening. Tua Tagovailoa or Jalen Hurts?
I'm actually going to surprise everybody, and I'm going to go Jalen Hurts here. I think he's got a better quarterback behind him. Obviously, I love Teddy Two Gloves, but Gardner Minshew.
This is more pressure to perform.
I know. That's what I'm saying. More like you got somebody really good breathing down your neck. You were like right on the edge of being. No, you did make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they did. They got mollywopped by the Bucs.
So now that has become the expectation. So now you got to turn up.
I'm going with Jalen also.
Jalen for you as well?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Tua just because Ferrari. I think what they put around Jalen Hurts at the Eagles was more of like a high-end Mercedes-Benz, but what they put around Tua was a Ferrari.
I can't disagree with that, though.
Poised for a bigger breakout year with their new team, Devontae Parker with the Patriots, A.J. Brown with the Eagles.
I'm actually, again, going to go a surprising answer here. I think Devontae Parker is poised for a bigger breakout year just because Mac didn't have that guy last year. Now he's going to have a true number one guy should he stay healthy.
I got to go with A.J. Brown just because they have those two star receivers in Philadelphia now. One of them's going to be getting double covered just about every other play. So one of them's going to be open. I think A.J. Brown is a big year.
When was the last time that a wide receiver for the New England Patriots was – you had what? Deion Branch and Randy Moss were your two guys that were like, oh, these guys have names that are a little bit bigger than the team. Otherwise, it's Wes Welkers, it's Julian Edelman's, it's I almost said Danny Amendola. I was gonna say Aaron Hernandez, but let's just stick with Rob Gronkowski. So for me, the answer is A.J. Brown. Moving on to star quarterback with the most to lose, Dak Prescott or Josh Allen? Kyle.
I'm going to say Josh Allen just because the expectation is so much higher. And in a very competitive AFC, your window is closing every year.
I'm gonna have to go with Dak. He's in a league, or he's in a division that's very, very winnable for them. Even though he doesn't have all the pieces there, it's very, very winnable, and he has to win the division this year.
I actually love that take. I'm going with Josh Allen because they're coming in as Super Bowl favorites, right? They've revamped the defense some. Yeah, you lost Brian Daboll, but Stephon Diggs, James Cook, Gabriel Davis, Dawson Knox. I'm expecting more with the most to lose here, Josh Allen, because Dak has the excuse built in, right? No wide receivers, all of that good stuff. Allen, at this point in time, does not have an excuse. All right, last one for rapid fire, then we'll move on. Who do you trust more, Zach Wilson or Carson Wentz?
I mean, I feel like I put this in here earlier, and it's probably a little bit easier of an answer than I thought. I'm going to go Carson Wentz. I mean, he's been there before. He didn't necessarily take his team to the Super Bowl.
He makes some dumb plays sometimes, though.
Right, he does make some really dumb plays. But Zach Wilson's a guy who has obviously, I mean, he just put his body on the line in a preseason game, and now it's going to cost his team. So I'm going to go Carson.
I'm going to say the exact same as well. He's been in the league. He's proven I'd say a little bit above average quarterback. So I'm going with Carson Wentz.
I'm going to go with Carson Wentz here. You're with a new team, again, but you're in a familiar division with the NFC East. You got Terry McLaurin. There's a lot really going on here that I trust Carson Wentz more for. Zach Wilson never really believed in him coming from the league or coming from BYU. There's just something about what happens with the Jets. I think the Carson Wentz, the Commanders in general, I like Ron Rivera, what he's been doing. I like the wide receiver core that they have over there. We've got 1 minute left to go here on the Afternoon Underdogs.
Sorry to cut you off. We were corrected on Facebook Live. Shout out to Zach Lesnar. Miami does have a first-round pick this year.
I was about to say I thought they had two, but I wasn't positive, and I'm not arguing with a Miami fan.
No, so they actually have San Francisco's pick. I remember now that they got it for trade, giving them the third overall pick a couple years ago.
I was thinking that because I remember when we initially brought this story up, someone corrected me on that as well, saying they do have two first-round picks. Also, they lost a third. We're out for the day. The Coach James Hill Show will be live at 7 a.m. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. with the Township Show on Tuesdays. That's Barrett Townsend, Tyler Bishop, and myself, David Hayes, with Miles Nasty Lashley on the ones and twos.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Colin Cowherd.
LeBron James, Rich Paul, the new head coach Darvin Ham, and Rob Pelinka, those four people met. 4 or 5 different agreements, according to sources. All 4 of those seem like wake-up calls for Westbrook. Russ wasn't in the meeting. AD wasn't either, but his agent was.
The Herd, weekdays 11 to 2 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi, I'm Kevin Shady with KHS & Associates. We represent private insurance providers using multiple nationwide PPO networks for pre-negotiated discounted rates and no copays, no co-insurance, and no deductibles. If you're interested in a quote, give us a call or text 502-386-1128 and provide us your zip code and the ages and gender of those to include. Call or text us at 502-386-1128. That's 502-386-1128.
Sick grout? Down and out? Call the Grout Doctor and they'll come up with a prescription that will cure any ailment your grout may have. Just because it's sick looking doesn't mean it needs to be replaced. They can clean it, change the color, or even repair it. You just have to give the Grout Doctor a call at 850-367-4330 to schedule a free checkup. 850-367-4330. Like the Grout Doctor Panama City FL on Facebook to unlock a special gift with your first service. Tire Brokers is your one-stop shop for all your auto repair needs. Whether you need an oil change, brake or engine repair, or tire and wheel services, the skilled technicians at Tire Brokers are trained to take care of it all.